Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concepts. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor. Happy you could join me here today for our second house call of the weekend. Yesterday, if you tuned in, you saw all the amazing questions that came in from our community. All sorts of questions, literally on cardiovascular health, on skin-based conditions, on some anxiety, on Ayurvedic medicine. So really a well-rounded show. A lot of great questions that came in, and I was able to point people, and I believe the best place to get started, some lab recommendations, some herbal-based nutritional supplement, some diet-based plans, different mindsets, different ways of looking at things, and that's really what it's all about. So without a doubt, we're going to continue with more of that today. Love seeing these questions come in, and we are actually just finishing up the end of July today. We'll be literally done with it and moving into the beginning of August. I know that it's October 28th today if you're listening to this the same day. And if you are, hopefully you tuned in. Of course, if you tuned in the same day, you heard of the big announcement in the beginning of the show. If you didn't, that's okay. But if you're able to tune into the Cabral Concept the same day, sometimes we do all sorts of different pop-ups, fun pop-ups that are just for that day. And well, today was no exception. So if you tuned in today, just go to equilibriumnutrition.com. That's where you can place that order and you get that great $89.95 bonus that we spoke about. So if you didn't, that's okay. In the future, we might be, of course, we'll be doing things as well, but this was just a special one that was kind of close to my heart with everything that's been going on with the CBD world. So hopefully you got a chance to check that out. All right, let's get right into the questions though, because with so many questions and us being about 12 weeks. We're starting to catch up. So now we're like 11 and a half weeks behind. I do want to catch up, answer as many questions as possible. And as I've been saying in the past couple of shows, if I've already covered the topic, I'm going to send you back. I'll give you, when possible, the podcast it was on. If not, I will give you exactly what to search to find your answer. And of course, you can do follow-ups at cabralsupportgroup.com and you're able to ask your question right there. I have an amazing team of health coaches that are able to answer your questions right inside of our private support group. And I try to pop my head in as well a couple times a week. So that is the place to be. I do polls there. I do announcements there. I've left a couple videos. So check that out, cabralsupportgroup.com. That is our community private support group where we offer complimentary health coaching questions as a place to get started. We can't read your labs right there. I don't think that would be ethical of us. But of course, we can give you the place to get started, lab recommendations, nutritional supplement recommendations, support, of course. If you're doing the Dr. Ball Detox, we're there to support you, or for any protocol. So just let us know. We're here to help. All right. First up is Sacha. And Sasha's writing in, hello. I wanted to reach out for my father who's been dealing with some serious health issues, which haven't been probably diagnosed. He began having cardiac issues years ago. However, in the last few years, he's had significant weight loss, impaired memory, slow movement, fatigue, foggy brain, digestive issues, visual impairments, in which he had cataract surgery, which we are now finding out went wrong, and there are calcium deposits. Along with all these issues, he's had resting tremors in his hands and his lips. He's been to numerous doctors, specialists, and they can't seem to properly diagnose him. His testosterone and free testosterone are extremely low, and his cortisol was only taken fasted in the AMs. I'm unsure of those results. I'm in desperate need to find a functional medicine to help him ASAP. Do you know someone in New Jersey or New York? I suspect that he's having heavy metal toxicity as well as gut and digestion issues. Please let me know if you could assist us in this case, as I do not want to take him to a random functional medicine practitioner. All right, Sasha, thank you for writing in. So probably in about 6 months or so from now, I'll be able to begin to recommend you practitioners all over the United States and all over the world with our integrative health practitioners. Right now, I can recommend looking for a functional medicine doctor or a functional medicine practitioner or a naturopathic doctor that can do some advanced lab testing, not just blood work, but really looking at the gut like you just talked about and heavy metals. I think you are definitely in the right direction. You could look at mold toxicity, you could look at heavy metals, you can look at gut, you can look at higher levels of omega-6s. What I see here, though, I just want to let you know, obviously I can't diagnose, treat, cure, any of those things, right? That's not my job. That's for the conventional medicine people out there. What I do is I'm going to give you what I would do in my practice to look at some underlying root cause issues. All right. So without a doubt that your father is in a catabolic state. He has a low sex hormones. He's losing weight. He's losing muscle. He has impaired memory, brain fog. Everything is in a weakened state, a catabolic state. We need to look at a few things. We need to look at Why is he in this state? Is it very poor absorption in the gut? Is he under a higher amount of inflammation, which can lead to higher levels of stress or cortisol in the body? Those are certainly possibilities. Calcium deposits in the eyes can also come from not just a botched surgery, but without a doubt from higher levels of cortisol, because cortisol is going to naturally pull calcium into the bloodstream and absolutely cause calcium deposits such as floaters in the eyes. So I want to look at that, but I also want to look at, I would like your father assessed for early Parkinson's. I want to see if this is a neurotransmitter issue. I want to see if this has anything to do with dopamine levels. You really do need to find a good functional medicine practitioner locally where you are, and there are plenty of great doctors in New York City for sure, and I'm sure all around New York. I don't know of any specifically in New Jersey. That doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means I don't know of them. So anytime you're in a big city, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Boston's not great for a lot of functional medicine doctors. And the reason is that we're big on conventional medicine in Boston. So we have a million, right? No, not quite a million, but you know what I'm saying. We have thousands of the best medical doctors in the world, but very few functional medicine practitioners because you're not exactly really welcomed in Boston. I have a great community. I work with hundreds of medical doctors on their own health, and I get a lot of referrals from GI doctors and, everyone, right? And it's been great, but it didn't start out that way. I really had to prove myself over time. And I wasn't trying to prove myself to anybody. That's not my practice about it. If people don't like that I'm a naturopath. If people don't like that I study Ayurveda. People don't like that I studied overseas. If people don't like any of that, that's, again, as I say, what they think about me is none of my business. Doesn't matter to me. My job is to help people. That's it. I didn't get into this for a fancy piece of paper. I didn't get into this for accolades from anyone. And I certainly didn't get into this to get the approval of conventional medicine. Certainly not. My only goal is to say, hey, I helped a couple people that most likely, if I wasn't able to figure out what was going on with them, they may not have gotten better. And because I helped those couple people, they're living a much better life. Their family's living a better life. And, to me, that's it. Like my mentor, she wasn't a world famous doctor. She wasn't even that well known. She was a very educated doctor and she lived in Maine and had a tiny little practice. I reached out to her. I took a bus to Maine to see her. It wasn't glamorous. And she helped me. And hopefully now I'm able to pay it forward to now millions of people every month with the Cabral concept. And so, it's with great gratitude I'm able to do this and simply have no need, like I said, for anyone to approve or disapprove. I don't even know how I got on this tangent, but that's what happens on our house calls. So that's what I would do. Check for Parkinson's, check for the heavy metals, check for the mold, check to see why your father's in such a catabolic state. Okay, Tom's up next. Do you take insurance or can I use HSA account for payment? I'm interested in going to a functional medicine provider. Thank you. All right, Tom, no problem with me reading and answering this on the house call, but this is something just to email in for support. Support@StephenCabral.com or support@equilibriumnutrition.com. You can post it at cabralsupportgroup.com, our private Facebook group. I certainly don't want you to wait 3 months to get your answer on this one. We do not take insurance because we do not treat, diagnose, or cure disease. That's for medical doctors. What we do is help you find out why someone may have the disease in the first place. We're looking at underlying root causes. We don't practice sick care. We practice health care. Health insurance doesn't cover health care. It covers sick care. It's unfortunate, but nonetheless, that's the truth. HSA, yes, you're responsible. You take care of that on your own. But what we can do is we give you a receipt for your consultation. We give you a receipt for your labs. And oftentimes those can be covered by your HSA. But again, we have nothing to do with that because we don't bill an insurance company. So we would give you your receipt from paying our private concierge practice. And then you would then try to get it covered by your HSA. So hopefully that helps. Lemute is up next. I remember the name Lemute for sure. So I think this must have been, let's see if it's the same question that maybe was just put in a couple times or if they put it in again. Hello, I would like to ask you about rheumatoid arthritis. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis for many years. A year ago, she gave up meat, dairy products, white flour, sugar. I'm going to take her to India for 15 days. Yes, I answered this question a bunch of podcasts back. So this is just a repeat question that Lemute must have just added again. That's okay. And again, I have many shows on rheumatoid arthritis. Just go to StephenCabral.com rheumatoid.com/podcast. I talk about rheumatoid arthritis all the time. So just type in rheumatoid in quotations at stephencabral.com/podcast in the search bar. And you said you're taking it for Panchakama. That's great. Literally, when I was in Sri Lanka and India, we saw people had to be every day with rheumatoid arthritis. That was one of the big ones people came to us for, to be on a plant-based diet and really remove the toxins. And it was incredible. So yes, I mean, I think that's great. And then again, look towards the gut. Run an organic acids test. Run a stool test without a doubt. Figure out what's going on down there in that 26 feet of intestinal tract. What type of bacteria could be causing some type of autoimmune-based issue. And that's what I would do. Of course, if you can run the Dr. Ball Big 5, that's the absolute best place, and add the stool test onto that. I mean, that is it. Like, that is the pinnacle. That's what we do in my practice, if possible. Now, if people can't afford all those, totally understand. That's not my job to try to say, hey, you have to do these in order to get well. Never the case. We can help you whether you ran the labs or not, but I can tell you, when you run the labs, the amount of data we have and how fine-tuned we can really tweak a program, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Like, this is state-of-the-art medicine. Forget about the blood work you run once a year with your doctor. It's fine. No problem at all. But you know what? That should always be good. If it's not, that means you actually have a disease. That means there's a disease state. We're looking at all of the things that lead to disease, and we can find them. We look at saliva, we look at hair, we look at urine, we look at the stool, and we look at blood, of course, too. We do finger pricks, and you can do that right at home to test your thyroid, to test your hemoglobin A1C. I mean, literally, it's mind-blowing the level of detail we can get for people. And right now, I'm being contacted by so many different podcasts and groups from all around the world. Literally, in 2019, I already have so many trips planned that I'm basically running labs for hosts of podcasts and major things. And what I'm doing is reading their results on the air. And so I'm going through it, and because they've given me permission, of course, because I would never do that if not. And I'm just showing people, listen, I can show you exactly what's going on in your body. It's not just me. I just want you to know that. Like, anyone who's able to read these labs, keep in mind, you're not going to learn this in depth, whether you go to naturopathy school or you go to medical school, right? You're going to learn it with your postdoctoral or just becoming an integrative health practitioner level 2. You're going to learn those things. And I don't say just, like, it's a lot of work, right? But if you want to learn it, you can learn it. And I'm certifying people in level 2 beginning in early 2019. And it's going to be amazing. So, because we are at the point in my practice where we can't take on any more people. And it's amazing. And it's absolutely great. And I'm very happy to be there. But now I want to be able to give referrals to our level 2 health practitioners. So I can't wait to do that as well. All right, Elizabeth's up next. Thank you for your information you are providing in the podcast. I have a question about life after thyroidectomy. I have Graves' disease followed by thyroidectomy. A biopsy of the thyroid showed that it was cancerous. The surgeon shrugged and said, no big deal. I was then put on thyroxine because I now have hypothyroidism, which only replaces T4. I was wondering if T3 should also be replaced. I have talked about it with my endocrinologist a couple times. She feels like this would be speed for my system, therefore does not think it would be appropriate. I think her reasoning for not putting me on T3 is the arrhythmias. I continue to experience status post-thyroidectomy. I'm using magnesium oil and I've been using it regularly for at least the last 6 months at bedtime without noticeable change in my arrhythmias. So my question are these. In your opinion, should I talk with my physician about replacing T3? And is there any specific dietary recommendations you have for someone who's had a thyroidectomy? Or should I just follow recommendations with hypothyroidism? Okay, really great question. I actually don't think that there's any dietary things you do at all for thyroid. I honestly don't. Because there's nothing that you need to do. Honestly, like, you could say, okay, well, I'm going to eat less high goitrogenic-based foods. But I don't think it's going to cause an issue. You had a thyroidectomy. And sure, if someone's sensitive to any food, you shouldn't eat it. But with low thyroid or hypothyroidism, there isn't like a diet for hypothyroidism. If someone out there is telling you there's a diet for that, it's incorrect. They could be giving you a diet for intestinal permeability. They could be giving you a diet to calm cortisol. They could be giving you a diet for different things. They could be giving you a diet to add a little bit of selenium to your diet, sure. But that's not a thyroid-based diet. Like, that's a nutrition-based diet to feed your body what it might be deficient in. So I can absolutely answer this question for you. I just want to put that out there to the world, not to just you, Elizabeth. But here's the thing. You can test this. Like, you can know exactly how much you need. You need to have your doctor run your TSH, T4, T3, and reverse T3. It's free T4, free T3, and then reverse T3. And if you run that, you'll see if you need to go up or down in your dosage of thyroxine, and you'll see if you need to add T3. That's it, like really it. Now, I'll let you know this because we work with a lot of people in my practice who no longer have a thyroid. And what I like to say too is if you had Graves' disease, and I mean, you really have to run your thyroid levels and your cortisol levels. I can't recommend enough running the thyroid adrenal hormone panel that we have. I mean, literally, it will give you all the information you need. And here's the thing as well. You have to make sure that you're testing T4 levels. If you're someone out there right now who's listening to this and you're taking thyroxine or you're taking a T4 medication, a pharmaceutical, or even a compounded one, I gave the research, and that's why if you can keep tuning in on a daily basis, the Cabral concept, I only mentioned things once, so I just want you to, if you can go back and listen to them. When you have an elevated level of T4, it's very dangerous for the cardiovascular system. It's very dangerous for your body. And I gave the research on that. People with a T4 that's elevated is very unhealthy for the body. So if you need to take thyroxine, what we need to do is say, okay, what are my levels like? Let me get this checked every 12 weeks to every 6 months maximum. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I do. And then you'll test T3 because right now thyroxine could be high and it could be converting totally fine to T3. If that's the case, there's no need to add T3. Most people would never add T3. I would rather you go with a thyroid glandular. But again, I need to see lab. I can't make a recommendation like that without a doubt, without seeing some numbers. But we use a thyroid glandular as well as our daily thyroid support. Now, again, that's if you have a thyroid, so the recommendations will be different for you, but the thyroid glandular will absolutely help. You may need more adrenal-based, like adrenal soothe, as well for the arrhythmia and just in general for your overall health, and maybe there's an HPA axis dysfunction. There's a little bit more fight or flight. Certainly, you had a predisposition, at least previously, with the Graves' disease. So that's absolutely where I would start. I would run that thyroid adrenal hormone, hands down, that's where I would start. John is up next. John is asking, Dear Dr. Cabral and staff, I would like to work with your firm in whatever capacity we ultimately deem appropriate. That is my question. Where do I start? I was contemplating with testing, but in the end, ultimately willing to enroll in your concierge service. My known issues are these. I've been diagnosed with minor depression. One doctor called it, let's just go through your list here because we've got a whole list. So I don't even want to hear what people are saying that it might be, okay? So we know that you have minor depression. So we know that there's mood-based issues. We know that you have adult ADD. There's fatigue. There's trouble sleeping, hard time focusing. You're 55 years old, self-employed CPA, on the run all the time. Which test do I begin with? The big five? Do I go through a different process? Thanks for your direction. Look forward to your response. All right, John, thank you for writing in. This was on 8-1. I just have to say to people, and again, I'm not giving your last name, John, is that right on that page, it says, your question will most likely not be answered for 12 weeks. Please email us at support@stephencabral.com, or if it's an order question with nutritional supplements or labs, etc., email support@equilibriumnutrition.com. And if you have a question on just the basics of the practice, just ask it at cabralsupportgroup.com. And I say this, I'm not upset at all. I feel bad. That's why I say this. That's why I repeat it. You know, you're waiting all of August, all of September, and now all of October to ask this question. We could have answered it for you the same exact day, Monday through Friday at cabralsupportgroup.com. Super simple. You know, my team's there to help. Like, I have a whole team that I employ to be able to answer people's questions. Like, that's what I'm trying to do to give back because I know that I can't do it. I mean, it would blow your mind the amount of emails, direct messages, and comments and posts and everything that comes in. It's well over 1,000 a day. One human can't do that. Like, I can't do that. However, I've answered, I would say, 99% of these questions before. So if it's the 1% that I haven't answered before, my team literally sends me a text message with a screenshot of your question. I answer it for them. Then they know the answer going forward, and they answer you right at cabralsupportgroup.com. So feel free to ask it right there. John, you would absolutely run the Dr. Cabral Big Five. You don't need the stool test yet, and we would be able to help you with those. Or you could, if you decided to, enroll in the private practice, and again, we'd be happy to help as well. All right, let's get to one more question. It's a big one, so I'm going to give you the short version. And of course, just go to stephencabral.com/996 for today's show notes. That is all of the questions that have come in from today. They're listed in full right there, and also links to probably the most helpful labs and supplements and all sorts of things are located there. All right. This question's from Andrew. Hello, Dr. C. I listened to your podcast with Ben Greenfield and was perusing your site. Really cool, and I'm in your neck of the woods. Curious if you studied with these people. X3, Body by Science, Neuromass. I have not studied with any of those people. All right, if not, I'll do my best to encapsulate so I can get to my questions. He goes on to talk about the different types of products, super slow executed multi-set workouts. Neuromass is dynamic power with isometric. Okay, X3 is a product that promises great increase in mass in just 10 minutes. You know how I feel about that. My goals are to build functional strength. I like the idea of serious training as little as once a week, provided you are getting movement the other days, an occasional hit. Intuitively, the idea of combining slow, fast, and iso exercise would seem to perhaps be most comprehensively train the body, but not sure if there is evidence to support it. X3 seems to show some studies. The method greatly increases muscle mass. I'm a little concerned that daily training might be too much, even if body focus change daily, if the workouts change daily. And not sure if they increase IGF-1 chairs, Andrew. Okay, great question. Happy to help with this. Tell you right now, you need to work out if you're looking to put on muscle 2 to 3 days per week. But you don't have to do more than that if you're someone specifically that's a hard gainer. That means it's hard for them to put on a lot of muscle, such as an ectomorph. So really, the programs that I give for ectomorphs, so 3 days per week, they're Monday, Wednesday, Fridays with the weekend off typically, especially if people are going out later on the weekend and not getting as much sleep because it's going to be detrimental to their gains. They're going to be in more of a catabolic state because they're going to either be drinking alcohol and becoming hypoglycemic the next morning, tapping into their own body mass. But so what I do is I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I am doing somewhere between a 30 and 45-minute workout for them. Total sets is going to be somewhere between 16 and 20. Okay, it's going to be somewhere between 4 and 6 total exercises, not including warm-up. And the average workout is about 18 sets. So it's about 6 total exercises times 3, that's 18. Or it might be 4 total exercises times 4 to 5 sets because the rep range is going to go lower. But I've already given you this before. And actually, I did it on a previous podcast of how I design workouts. So I actually combine all of the different methodologies you were talking about before. Keep in mind, I've been doing this. I've been in the fitness industry for, well, over 20 years now. 20 years, yes. So I've done this many, many years, and I go by all the research. And also, again, we've done hundreds of thousands, right? So it's over 250,000 client appointments with fitness, with health, with functional medicine, with body transformation, with anti-aging, you name it. So absolute best is we change those rep ranges. Sometimes we'll do all low, we'll do all high for those 3 days a week. But now a lot of times what I'm doing is, because it's not their whole life, is I'm doing 1 lower rep day, 1 moderate day, 1 higher rep day. And honestly, although we change the exercises for them for each of those 3 days, and then we maintain that for 4 to 6 weeks so that we every week increase. So like every week there has to be this gradual overload. That's what we're working for, but we're not totally breaking down and taxing the body. But time and attention matters. So when you tell me a 10-minute workout and you do that once a week, I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Like that's just marketing gimmick. I don't market to people. There's no gimmicks. I mean, legit, you say, you come in, this is what we want, and this is what you're going to get. Like, I mean, that's that people come to us because they want results and we promise results. Like that's what we do. No marketing, no hype. So Andrew, that is where I would start. I would do 2 to 3 workouts per week. I would say you listen to the previous podcast I've done on escalating density training or escalating density principles. I would listen to my workouts about strength training. I would listen to my workouts about compound movements. You can find actually all of this information, and it's completely free by going to stephencabral.com/podcasts and simply looking at all of the shows that say TT. So you can actually type in TT in quotations in the search box, and actually that will pull up every show. Sorry, because we do that as part of our abbreviations. But you can just go back and once a week for almost 1,000 episodes, right? So almost 1,000 episodes. Once a week, I've done a training Thursday. And I take you through and really break down the process step by step by step. And we have so many personal trainers who are in our integrative health practitioner program now, learning, how to take that personal training now to the next level, really customize it per individual rather than doing a cookie cutter program, for each single person. So that's part of our 8 parts of the de-stress protocol as an integrative health practitioner, and the E part in de-stress. The first E stands for exercise programming. So, Andrew, hopefully that helps. Obviously, much more to learn on all the previous podcasts. Hopefully that was helpful, like I said, and hopefully you're enjoying the weekend, everyone. I really, truly appreciate you tuning in. And of course, if you tune in on that same day, you heard today's pop-up, which again, that offer is available with your purchase at equilibriumnutrition.com. Enjoy, everyone. Have an amazing weekend, and stay tuned for tomorrow's Motivation and Mindset Monday. Before you go, I wanted to let you know that this week we are debuting our mold toxicity test. This is a lab that we've been using in our Boston private practice for many years, and now we want to be able to share it with everyone all around the world. So many people have been writing in with symptoms of sinus congestion, postnasal drip, watery or teary eyes, brain fog, skin rashes, joint pain, inflammation, multiple chemical sensitivities, fatigue, and many more mold toxicity-based symptoms that we knew we had to give people an easy way to test right at home. So this week only, we are offering our at-home urine test for both children and adults at $50 off the retail price. Like all our labs at Equilibrium Nutrition, every kit comes with easy instructions on how to complete it right at home, and also includes a consultation with one of my health coaches to review results after I've personally made recommendations for you. We're excited to be able to bring this new lab to you in our online health community, and we do hope that you take advantage of this new special offer. To save $50 this week while supplies last, go to equilibriumnutrition.com and click in the offer bar at the top for details.